Are there any supplemental exercises that you would recommend, like for, I guess, to increase your power or just to get the extra edge per se?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
or because I know you say you focus mainly on the martial aspect or the martial training, get good at that, right? But
Hmm.
if you want to take it a little bit further, like I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
if you want to punch someone and knock them out,
Hmm.
first punch.
Yeah. Yeah. So what that has to do with as much as individual muscle groups, like so you analyze a punch, it's primarily anterior deltoid, triceps, right? A little bit of pectoralis, abdominals, and quadriceps, and your butt, right? And your calf, like the muscles that we use for sprinting, right? Like pushing, extension. Yeah. So then you have to analyze that. Okay. So if that's the case, then I want to increase the muscular force, right? And so, of course, you can just do individual, like, okay, shoulder presses to get the anterior deltoid, tricep press downs to get the tricep, maybe push ups or bench press to get the pecs, sit ups to get the core, right? Quadricep, leg extensions, or squats are good. And actually, squats is a good segue because I think the best movements that are more applicable to martial context are compound movements like squats. So if you just, do like bicep, I mean, or tricep, that's okay. That's maybe that muscle gets stronger. But are you able to integrate it into a kinetic chain, right? That, like I said, can incorporate your whole body into a strike. Yeah. So to me, conditioning is not just muscular hypertrophy, is as much important neuromuscular coordination, right? So I can do, say you have a device to measure, pounds per square inch for a strike. Like I can, without much training, maybe hit it, whatever, like 200 pounds of force. Now, with maybe some instruction, like, okay, make sure you're not just hitting it with the arm. I did this actually. I was working with some kids in a class this morning, and they're like whatever 50 pounds, 80 pounds, right? And so without any muscular hypertrophy, right? They didn't suddenly, gain weight, right? But when I showed them how to, again, connect psychosomatically, right? Neural musculo-skeletally, right? Then wow, like the punch maybe like doubled in terms of output, right? One is because they're able to throw their whole body mass at me, all 60 pounds. And when they're hitting my solar plexus or the pad, I mean that's considerable force, right? And the other thing is to be able to do it faster, like accelerate from zero, within a short distance. The more you can accelerate from zero to, let's say, whatever, 10 meters per second in a short distance, that's much more momentum, much more damage. So to me, those are psychoneural aspect, not so much musculoskeletal, right? So of course, if I had a whole, 4-year course in, undergraduate studies in martial arts, I mean, I would do everything. I would teach them about, neurophysiology. I would teach them about, muscular, physiology, exercise physiology, bone density, all of that, right? So again, ultimately, it's context. Like, what do you want to do, right? The martial vehicle is very great to have a reason to condition, right? Because you want to be able to move stronger and faster, right? Because some people, they just work out, but maybe they get lazy because, like, why am I running? Why am I doing pull-ups? Like, it's just to look good. Okay, maybe that's enough. But for martial, it's like maybe it helps you be able to do certain techniques more effectively. So I would say, yeah, more mass, but that could be like fat too, right? So I mean, if it's Thanksgiving right now, so if you overate, during this week and you gain like 5 pounds, 10 pounds, right, and of mass of fat, let's say that's a lot, and so you, instead of weighing 160, you weigh 170, but you still have your neuromuscular, kind of coordination. Like those punches that are going to come out, with 10 pounds more of fat are going to be stronger, right? You think of like the sumo wrestlers in Japan, like, they have fat around them, but also like,
Yeah.
a lot of lean muscle mass underneath, right? So you definitely don't need a six pack. I mean, if you're going to do muscle ups, of course, it helps that you don't have extra mass or tissue besides the lean muscle mass, right? But in terms of martial context, yeah, it depends. But I would say if you do choose, if you have time, and it is a priority to do some conditioning, but not just conditioning for conditioning's sake, I would choose exercises that actually are along trajectories that are as similar to your martial motion as possible, right? And so if you think about a punch, right? Let's say your right leg lead, and like this, and you want to punch, with left punch or left extension. If you go to the gym, I would say see if you can find a cable, right? Those cables, grab it with your and like push, yeah, like that. And then use your legs too. So it's not just the arm. Like from your feet, feel your feet, and then extend through your feet to your spine. And then when it gets to shoulder, push out and back, right? So it's almost the same martial movement that you would do in that context with resistance, basically, right? With resistance. Then you will make those musculo-tendinal connections stronger, maybe strengthen your ligaments, right? But maybe what I might do, and I've done it before, is like do movements like that and do like, I don't know, 10 reps, 12 reps, depending on the weight. And then in between reps, actually just do the martial movement as you would do it, right? Without the weight. So you're kind of training your body like, okay, this is not just a movement to lift weights, right? What's the point of that, right? So in between sets, maybe you're just doing some punches in the air to be able to kind of train your body like, okay, this is for that. It's not just in isolation.